I must apologize first. I know how you feel about this wild goose chase after the mysterious healer. Every time you discover his whereabouts, he immediately disappears in the wind. However, now I'm absolutely confident that we have found him in the cursed province of Mercia.
spell was cast. A spell has been cast. The enemy hero is casting a spell. Your spell was absorbed. The enemy hero is casting a spell.
Fire! Fire!
The enemy has cast a spell. Your units are in danger. The enemy hero is casting a spell. unit is going to die. A spell has been cast.
Fire!
Your soldiers are going to die. A spell has been cast. A spell was cast. A spell was cast. Your units are in danger. Your unit is going to die.
Fire!
A spell has been cast. The enemy has cast a spell. cast a spell. Victory is near. A spell has been cast.
Fire! Fire!
A spell has been cast.
Fire!
A spell was cast.
Yes, my liege.
You are right, my lord, and it would be foolish to think that Merlin's disappearance had nothing to do with a catastrophe. After all, the wizard disappeared right before the murderous attempt on your father's life. And I do urge you to keep on looking for him. But it is time to consider using his arcane legacy for the greater good.
The Druidic Order of the Wanderers has come to you with a request. They sent a few druids to one of their sacred groves that had been devastated by the Fomorian taint. They attempted to purify the grove, but they disappeared, and the Order doesn't have the resources to risk an investigation into the matter. They ask for your help.
Yes, my liege. Ready to serve. Yes, my liege.
On my way.
The mysterious healer you seek has already continued his journey to the forsaken land of Mercia to help the survivors of the recent plague. You must travel to Mercia to find him before it's too late. You head out to East Mercia to catch up with the healer. He's looking for ancient wisdom in the region most plagued by the fomorians. Although the task is far from easy, finally you find the mysterious man. But he refuses to go with you, saying he still has research to do. You attempt to command the healer, then beg him to go with you, then threaten to use force, but he doesn't relent. He has found a way to identify the possessed that works even if you can't find the fomorian who infected them, and wants to use it to save the innocent. The method is simple. Suspects have to spend a night on holy ground. Either Christian churches or druids' groves will do, as those possessed cannot bear the purity of life and faith. The problem is that the first thing the fomorians did was desecrate the monastery's chapel. It's a Christian kingdom, so it's not easy to locate a druid, but after a while you succeed. The fomorian taint defiled the hidden groves. We are too weak to counter that. We sent word to the archdruids, but have got no answer yet. You have to ask the Christmongers to help you. The healer tells you that there's an order of Saxon monk knights in the area who have the power to consecrate a church. The champions of Beowulf, but they're ruthless and zealous and often slaughter entire villages without even trying to save the innocent. A band of the champions are hunting fomorians in the area right now. You take your men and ride out to meet them. The Saxon company is small, but has a grim splendor. You see they are indeed sacred warriors of Christ, and also that they don't trust or even respect you at first. The leader of the Saxon knights listens intently.
I know it'd be useful to tell the innocent apart, though I'd rather err on the side of killing, and thus save their souls from the fomorians than let one cursed demon slip. But let it be, we will help.
You lead the champions of Beowulf back to the village. They're a grim lot, but you're not in a jolly mood either. The healer, on the other hand, starts to hum happily when he sees them and explains to them what he needs. The knights obey him stony-faced and without a word. The healer greets the villagers and tells them of his discovery and how it will help them. Sir Dunstan, the leader of the Saxon warband, frowns at this, and you see that his knights draw a perimeter around the villagers. They are few, but look agile and determined.
If I were a possessed man, he says, hefting his sword, and the healer told me there's a way to find me out, I'd make a run for it. The others don't have to fear this trial, so we cut down those who run and spare them the agony of the trial and later the plague.
When the healers finished speaking, the villagers full of uncertainty mill around for a while. All of a sudden, one of them breaks into a run, then another and another. The soldiers surrounding the crowd hack them down effortlessly. It is a horrible thing, but it had to be done. The villagers are stunned by the massacre, though they understand the fleeing men were already possessed by the fomorians. Just as you prepare to strike camp, Sir Dunstan comes over and says he'd prefer you and your men spent the night inside the monastery too.
Why would I want to kill you all?
He asks, puzzled.
And anyway, how could I, a warrior of Christ, defile the sanctuary of the altar, much less burn a newly consecrated church? Maybe you pagan swine do such things, but we don't spill blood where we worship.
The monastery is overcrowded, and the villagers are clearly afraid of the Saxons. But the fact that you and your men are in there too seems to cheer them up a little. The healer tries to lighten the mood with songs and tales, but you expect to pass a miserable night there. The moaning starts around midnight, when the holiness of the place starts to affect the possessed. Some try to sneak out saying they don't want to die in the church, but your men stop them and herd them back. Surprisingly, not all of these turn out to be possessed. The possessed are dispatched and their bodies burned, and by mid-morning the champions of Beowulf are gone as well. You wait for the healer to say his goodbyes and pack his books, and then you head back to Bedigrain, where Arthur lies wounded. started to capture one of your locations. Enemy units have captured a location.
Fire!
A spell has been cast.
Fire! Fire!
A spell was cast. Your unit is going to die. Your units are in danger. Your soldiers are going to die. A spell has been cast. spell has been cast.
Fire!
Your soldiers are going to die. The enemy has cast the spell.
Fire!
A spell has been cast.
Yes, my lord. On my way.
The battle against the Fomorians has been dragging on for a while now, seemingly without end. While your warriors slay the Fomorians by the hundreds, you can't keep up with your enemies. You must aim straight for the heart of the beast. Now we know where they are coming from, so we must destroy their nest.
The King of Mercia is willing to sell horses sired by his own renowned stallion. These mounts are tough, hard-working animals both on the battlefield and in the villages, perfect for the warrior, the breeder, or the merchant.
On my way. Yes, my lord. On my way.
Merlin had secret lairs, towers, and dungeons all over the land. After taking back Bedford from the possessed armies, you learn that one of Merlin's secret hideouts is right here, deep in the forest. It looks like an ordinary blacksmith shop, but don't let appearances fool you. The blacksmith's old workshop looks like a tomb. 3 steps lead down to the entrance, a big stone door. You leave your army behind and walk downstairs. You see 5 levers in the wall made of different materials and a sign. The last one is next to the golden. The brass one comes earlier than the sapphire, and first one is next to it. The one in the middle is the neighbor of the wooden one. The golden one comes later than the brass. You see 5 different levers in this order: brass, gold, sapphire, wood, and silver. The sign on the wall says, the last one is the neighbor of gold. Brass precedes sapphire. The first is the neighbor of sapphire. The one in the middle is the neighbor of wood. Gold follows brass. You have pulled 1 lever. The sign on the wall says, the last one is the neighbor of gold. Brass precedes sapphire. You have already pulled 2 levers. The sign on the wall says, the last one is the neighbor of gold. Brass precedes sapphire. You see 5 different levers in this order. You have pulled 1 lever. You have already pulled 2 levers. The sign on the wall says, you have already pulled 3 levers. The sign on the wall says, the last one is you have already pulled 4 levers. After pulling the 5th lever, you hear a click and the noise of stone on stone. The stone door slides to the side and you enter the workshop of the blacksmith. Nothing implies that magical items were made here once. The workshop is old and the equipment is poor. You find a cape though, which is clearly magical. You remember that a cape like this was mentioned in the lore of Sir Brandon. find a ring in the chest. This must be the magical ring of Sir Brandon, which the legend tells of. You take it and close the chest again. The door opens onto a short corridor which leads to another room. It is completely empty, but there are 2 doors at the other end of the room. You see a picture of a maze over the first one and a straight corridor over the other. You start to think about why anybody would choose the maze over the straight corridor. You brace yourself for danger, but nothing happens. The corridor is silent and peaceful. You almost reach the door on the other side when the floor starts to move under your feet and stones start to fall from the ceiling. You storm ahead through the door and burst into the room beyond it. The room is only 4 steps long, and you see a strong oak door at the end with a drawing of a maze above it. There is a crystal-walled stone pedestal filled with some kind of liquid. You see 3 vats below with handles. Each one of them contains a scroll. After turning the handles, the lid may be lifted, but then liquid will fill the vats and the scrolls will be destroyed. If you turn them one by one, only the first 2 will fill up, but the 3rd one remains unharmed. You have to decide which scroll to save. You turn the handles one by one. The first 2 vats fill with liquid, and you see the maps dissolve in 2 heartbeats. After turning the 3rd handle, you open the lid that uncovers a map of the maze, with signs indicating traps and secret doors. With the map in hand, you enter the maze. You keep deactivating traps and finding hidden doors, but in the end, you manage to get to the last room. There is a big fireplace along one of the walls. You see a key hanging in it on a chain over magical flames. This must open the only door out. There is a sign over the fireplace. The hunger of this fire can only be quenched by magic. Flames flare up and get brighter as you throw the object onto them, but soon they start to settle down as they consume the magical item. Now you are free to take the key. After opening the door, you walk into a library. The shelves are empty. The only book you can see is one covered in leather on a pillar. You have found the secret knowledge of the magical forge. You take the valuable book and leave the maze.
Your father's incurable wound would probably have killed him, were it not for the ancient magic of Bedegray Forest. Sadly, the wound keeps on drawing on that magic, and the forest is shrinking rapidly. But there is a positive side to this. The receding twilight has revealed several ancient ruins from the time of legends. They are likely to hold untold treasures, my lord, and I strongly believe that you should explore them. I've marked them on your map.
In Merlin's secret workshop maze, you found some rare scrolls, one of which described the whereabouts of an ancient tome. This tome is a highly prized treasure in the eyes of the monks of Medisham. However, the library that contains this tome is deep in the fomorian-infected regions of the south.
Yes, my liege.
King Cynric's youngest daughter has always wanted a life in Arthur's court, as a damsel who could take her pick among the bravest and noblest suitors. Now that she is of the appropriate age, you could invite her to Heartwood Keep.